Hey class, it's time for speech number 2. I'd like to start off by introducing my audience. We have Luke, Rock, Katie, Megan, and Sydney. The topic for today is discussing culture, and the culture that I'm going to discuss is near and dear to my heart: obstacle course racing, also known as OCR. With miles of mud, walls of rope, beads of sweat running down your face, bundles of barbed wire inches from your back, and nothing but smiles from cheek to cheek. It's a culture built by time and molded by history. Emerging slowly, a community grounded in athleticism and friendship is born. Obstacle course racing, or OCR, is born. OCR has been around since the early 19th century as a training method for the military in the Roman Empire, and in the early 20th century was adapted for the U.S. military, implementing obstacle courses into their training. As time progressed, outside entities started using obstacle courses like football or the Boy Scouts, anywhere that was needed for strength conditioning and mental fortitude. In an article in 1942, Boy's Life magazine said, to help toughen up every scout, your patrol should do obstacle courses. A niche started to develop, and the public was growing bored of traditional races, so they started looking forward for more interesting methods of entertaining themselves and conditioning themselves. And people started to go into OCR racing, the obstacle course racing. OCR is a competitive event where people get challenged by running long distances, dealing with different obstacles in front of them that use your upper body or your lower body, or sometimes it's just something that you have to figure out to get through. The events were traced back to 1987 in the UK with the first obstacle course race, Tough Guy. When you fast forward 23 years forward, OCR made it to the coast of America with the launch of Tough Mudder and Spartan Race. You may be wondering why something that was implemented in military training for years made its way to the civilian sector. And the answer is pretty simple. OCR is more than just a race, it's a culture, it's a community. It doesn't matter whether you're old, fast, or fat. You can get through an OCR race and you'll still have fun. To begin, I'd like to tell you that it doesn't matter whether you walked onto the starting line right now as a conditioned athlete or as a couch potato. You'd be welcomed by a horde of goofy, fun-loving runners of all levels, genders, and ages. They have different brackets, so you can feel comfortable with whatever group that you're going with, whether it's a race for a shorter distance, a mile or less, with a bunch of obstacles for you to do with your kids, or going up further into a professional bracket where you have pro circuit athletes who are actually competing for their livelihood. As you begin to dredge through the race, you'll start to see different obstacles. Some you can take on your own, and then others are literally made for you to interact with everybody else that's there with you. And it brings out the best in people because everyone stops to make sure that everybody can get by. And even if you can't get over something or get through something, no one's going to be there to make you feel bad or say that you're disqualified and your race is over right there. You can go around. There may be an alternate way to finish, but there'll always be something there for you. As you continue to go through the race and go further, sometimes you'll see something that'll test you, but at the same time challenge you in a way that you're happy that you were able to do it. And when you can't, and you do fail, most of the time the way you fall is falling into something that's even more fun than the run sometimes, or passing the obstacle the first try. A lot of times as you go and dredge through what you're doing, if you mess up, you're falling into some mud or you're falling into some water, and that's half the fun sometimes. Some people just get a running start and just dive straight into the mud and forget about the obstacle, just because that's what you're there to do. It's not just, hey, this is a race, hey, we're doing the LA Marathon or something. You're there for fun. As a testimony to the culture of making everyone feel welcome, people actually volunteer to help people that can't necessarily do the race on their own. There's teams of people that come out that are old Marines or in the Navy SEALs. They're just people that are built to do this. and they take somebody that can't, like paraplegics or somebody that's in a wheelchair, and they actually carry them through the race just so that there's no one ever left behind. If you want to do it, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to. And along the way, as you're going through these races and you're having all this fun and whatnot, you're kind of worried about capturing the moment. There's always going to be photographers along the way that capture those moments for you, so you get to take them back and spread it to other people, and maybe they'll maybe they'll want to try, and it's just building more to the culture. Along the way, there's going to be photographers to catch the moment for you. As you make your way to the end of the race with mud on your face and not an ounce of disgrace, the welcome will rock you. You charge towards a crowd of finishers and volunteers alike as they start passing out medals, like these, to everyone that's made it through the experience. Now that the race is over, the party's only begun. Now that everything's done and everybody's finished and they're washing off all the mud, the party begins. There's always going to be an after party after the race, which just embodies the whole culture. There's going to be people drinking, there's going to be music, there's people singing and dancing, and whenever you think there's nothing else left for you, there's always going to be something more. People bring out a bunch of energy drinks, throwing out gifts. It's just what they do. OCR is still just an emerging sport, and it's growing in so many aspects. OCR has just developed its own world championship, and it's starting to make its way into other countries with their own championships. We've made it so far to America, of course, Australia, Asia, Europe, South Africa, and South America. Joe DeSena, the creator of Spartan Race, is now living in Tokyo and trying to spread Spartan Race to Japan. He says that we understand that we don't have the existence that we need, and that we need to push forward to make the biggest thing gain for solidified the legitimacy of the sport. In other words, he's trying to push forward so that no matter where you go, no one's going to say, what's that? They know the household name of OCR, obstacle course racing. OCR is not just the sport that we're trying to create and push towards the Olympics or something like that. It's also something that people use as a stress reliever. OCR has made its way into colleges and on different campuses as something to help the students release all the stress from being in school, as well as something to bring them together. Corporations use this as a retreat for team building and, again, relieving stress from the workplace. Along with that, there's special events so that people don't feel subconscious. There's events where there's only women. There's events for just children. And then even outside of that, it's made it to the point where there's gyms that are literally dedicated to obstacle course racing as an alternate form of exercise. As we push towards the higher ends of athletic prowess, though, we do push to get OCR into the Olympics. And Adamson, which is one of the leading OCR aficionados, says that the International Federation generally needs 50 national federations to gain recognition as an international level as a sport, meaning that you need to be in at least 50 different countries and have 50 predominant establishments that are creating these races to be recognized by the Olympics. And he says that I'm working with about 40 nations as we speak, to get recognition from the official Olympic Committee. To sum it all up, obstacle course racing has a rich history with war woven in its roots, a caring community in its present state, and a bright future around the world. Brett McKay, a reporter for artofmanliness.com, said it best: OCR will likely continue to exist as long as society remains relatively free of physical hardship. Once an actual suffering-inducing crisis arrives, we'll stop doing obstacle course races for fun and personal challenge and start doing them to prepare to tackle external challenges. Because in any way you slice it, when it comes to gambling the whole man, building your strength, stamina, agility, and convincing all-around toughness, no training tool can compare. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.